Colorado Talk or nothing, so I figured, did I miss something or?
No.
We got a whole week of meetings coming up. Yes,
Yeah,
we do.
exactly.
Maybe instead of a Wild West, we'll have a civilized East.
So, Paul,
Yeah,
I think I'm recording. Do you show recording?
Checking.
Oh,
It
or
said you were
Curtis.
recording.
Yeah.
Scott, you are.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Yep,
Thank you.
says record.
Well,
February.
let's get underway, folks. Welcome to the convention orientation meeting of the National Federation of the Blind of Colorado. I'm going to ask Curtis or Paul or Dan to mute everybody, and then we'll talk about how we're going to handle all of this.
Okay, who's going to do it?
Why don't you go ahead, Curtis? Mute him. Put him down.
It has been.
Okay, all right. That sounds nice and clear. Again.
There we go.
Scott.
Scott's down.
Scott's down.
Yeah.
There you are, Scott. Well, he went back. Scott, you're back under.
Well, they can hear you.
Yeah.
Am I up now?
There you go, Scott.
All right, good. It wasn't letting me unmute myself, and I'm the host. I can't believe that. Anyway, welcome everybody to our pre-convention orientation session. This is necessary this year because obviously this is the first time that the National Federation of the Blind has conducted a convention in a virtual space. And I guess the first thing I want to say is please be patient with us. Please understand that because this is the first time we have ever done this, it's going to be an adventure. There are a lot of things we think we have figured out, but I'm certain that hiccups will occur, like just happened here where I couldn't unmute myself. So please be patient with us. In case you haven't heard the news, we have registered over 7,200 people to this national convention. That is, of course, a record. I knew that we would have a larger convention because, hey, it's free, it's virtual, nobody has to get on a plane and spend money on the hotel and spend money on food, but I really didn't think we would go past 5,000. But I am very glad to be wrong. We are at, the official registration number for this convention is 7,251. And that's where it will stay. The reason that it will stay there is because we have closed registration. Now, that doesn't mean if you didn't register for convention, you can't attend. You absolutely can attend. It is wide open. You can use any of the means to connect, but it just means that you won't be able to vote in the convention if you're a member of the Federation or be eligible for door prizes. And somebody asked me the other day, well, why can't you register right now? Well, it's because for a lot of these things that we are doing, we needed to have the data and the names and the information ahead of time. For example, for the voting process, it would be very difficult to accept on-site, if you will, day of registrations and then get everybody into the voting system. So if you weren't able to register officially, I'm sorry about that. But you will absolutely be able to participate fully in the convention. All of the meetings except one is open and public. The only convention meeting of the Federation that is closed is the nominating committee meeting. Anyway, what I thought I would do at first is to just kind of go over the general convention in terms of days and the major events. And then we will, at that point, maybe take some questions on that. And then maybe we'll try the Colorado cheer at that time. It'll be very interesting on Zoom. So first of all, the first day of convention is next Tuesday. And before I even get started on the days, let me say that if you would like any individual training on how to use these platforms, either the Zoom platforms or the voting platform or the convention hall, exhibit hall platform, we will help you individually. Would you please, if you want that help, email us at assistance@nfbco.org or call 303-778-1130 extension 219. And if you either leave a message on the voicemail box or send us an email asking for help, we will get somebody to call you back. And we will get somebody with the correct knowledge about whatever the issue is to call you back. For example, Curtis Chong tells me he's now become an expert with the exhibit hall app. And he'd be happy to help people. So maybe he's not quite an expert yet, but he's getting there. So the first day of convention is Tuesday, the 14th of July. This day has the feature of being mostly, if really not exclusively, all about breakout seminars. The day is chock full of breakout meetings from a wide variety of topics. Rehab professionals are meeting, all kinds of technology seminars. If you want to know the latest about JAWS or the latest about hymns in the Braille sense, or those kinds of seminars are going on Tuesday. The other thing that is going on throughout the convention is the presidential suite. This is where Mark Riccobono and Melissa Riccobona will be able to meet with folks, greet people. They're not going to be there all the time, but I will say that first day of the presidential suite is maybe the best day to try and get President Riccobono, because we are not in some of the major sessions of the convention yet. So you can go to the presidential suite, visit with people, and visit with the president if he's available, make an appointment with the president, and all of those kinds of things. We will be setting up separate breakout rooms so people can cluster in small groups. All of that will be going on kind of like a normal presidential suite, except we won't have the coffee, the popcorn, the M&Ms. The M&Ms are the things that I'm going to be missing a lot. I guess I could just go out here to the store and buy myself a bag of peanut M&Ms. They're the only righteous M&Ms, by the way. So that'll be available. The times are in the agenda. Now, let me talk to you about the agenda. The agenda is available at nfb.org/convention, and we have a multitude of formats. It's in Word. It's in HTML so that you can just stay right on the website and click on different things. It is, what else is it in? There are other formats. I think it's in a iOS type format. I'm sure there's a PDF for those who want it. And the other beautiful thing about the agenda, it is also on NFB Newsline. So you can dial into Newsline and pick, I don't remember which category it is. I think it's number 5. Under meetings of the print disabled, you can find the NFB convention. Now, a little insider trick and tip for you. If you are either using your iPhone or a smartphone, or you're using a computer, laptop, desktop, whatever top, and you are in the HTML version of the agenda, when you find the link for the meeting, the Zoom link for whatever meeting you want to go to, you can just click on it, hit enter on it right there, and go into the meeting. That's what I think I intend to do mostly. Now, from the other versions, like from the Word version, you can copy that link over and execute it there. There's even a way to open the link in Word. And if you want to learn about how to do things like that, call Curtis, okay? Or seriously, just, send us a message at assistance@nfbco.org or leave us a voicemail, and we will get back with you and teach you how to do those kinds of things. So let me pick up the pace here a little bit because we've got a lot to go through. The next day of convention, Wednesday, the 15th, there are a number of things that go on, including an open national board of directors meeting. And it really acts like the first general session of convention. And then the other important meeting that day is our resolutions committee meeting. I happen to know that a number of Coloradans have been active in writing resolutions and will be presenting them to our resolutions committee. For first timers, for people who aren't as familiar with the NFB, why is resolutions so important? It is how we set our policy. If the convention adopts a resolution, it is the policy of the Federation, and it is the obligation of the president and the board of directors and the affiliates and everybody in the Federation then to carry out whatever policy we decide. So please attend the resolutions committee meeting. And as I say, a number of Coloradans have been busy with resolutions. I wrote one. Some of you will be shocked to know that my resolution relates to the Marrakesh Treaty. But anyway, we've got a number of resolutions. I know Curtis Willoughby one about the ARRL, which is the Amateur Radio Relay League, and their discrimination, and so on and so forth. So please attend resolutions. The next day is a day, the 16th, that features our division meetings. We have a bunch of about 30 special interest divisions in the Federation. And for example, the National Association of Blind Lawyers, the best division of the NFB. I might be a little biased. Anyway, we will be meeting, the computer people will be meeting, the blind merchants, and so on and so on and so on. Those meetings will start at 9 a.m. Colorado time. Here's an important point. Even though we label it all over the agenda, people are sometimes not paying attention. All of the times that you see in the agenda, all of the times are Eastern. We are, as you know, 2 hours behind the East Coast. So whatever time you see in the agenda, subtract 2 hours, and that's when it'll be taking place here. Good thing we're not in Hawaii, right? For example, the time for state caucus meetings is at 11 a.m. Eastern. Well, that's 5 a.m. in Hawaii. Anyway, I don't think Hawaii will be having its state caucus at 5 a.m. Kind of doubt it. But all the times are Eastern, okay? So where was I? I was on the 16th. The big thing on the 16th, the big huge thing, our opening general session with opening ceremonies and all kinds of fun, the roll call of states. That is, in fact, on the 16th. On the 17th, one of the big things for us on the 17th at 9 a.m. Mountain, 9 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Eastern, we will have our Colorado caucus. And we will be sending out the Zoom room information for that separately. You need to check our list. We'll send it to everybody who's registered. We'll make sure you get the Zoom information for our caucus. What do we do at the caucus? Well, we talk about our position on resolutions, other issues before the convention, just kind of introduce one another to each other and talk about things we are doing in Colorado. That'll start 9 a.m. on the 17th. 17th in the afternoon and in the evening, we are having general sessions. The convention will start, what is it? I think at, is it 1 our time? I have to check the agenda, but look at the agenda. It will start in the afternoon. The first item, I think it's actually 2 Eastern, so noon here. The first item is Mark Riccobono's presidential report. That is always an awesome event because we review what we've accomplished in the previous year. And it always makes me very proud because you realize the totality and the strength of the organization. So that's a highlight of the convention. Here, breaking news. It's not in the agenda because it's breaking news. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, will be speaking to the convention right after Mark's report. So that'll be cool. And then there's all kinds of other cool stuff on Friday, both Friday afternoon and it goes into Friday evening. The convention will end around 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time Friday. All right, Saturday, the 18th. This is the big, huge marathon day. We have convention sessions in the late morning, early afternoon here in Colorado. And we have 2 convention sessions. And then at night, we have the banquet, the annual banquet, where we will hear Mark Riccobono's banquet address and have a lot of other festivities. The banquet will be starting at 5:30 Mountain Time, and the banquet will end by about 7:30 Mountain Time. So that is a very quick overview of the convention agenda. If you have any questions, you want more in depth about it, you need help accessing the agenda, again, let us know. All right, so let's pause here, Curtis, and let's unmute everybody or ask people to unmute, and we'll try a Colorado chair. And then we'll talk about the platforms to access various aspects of the convention. So I don't know. How's it going, Curtis?
It's going. Are you looking for a raise? Nobody's unmuted. You have to unmute yourself, people.
So unmute yourself.
If you're on the phone, it starts because the unmute all doesn't work. I already tried
I'm
that.
unmuted now.
There you go.
Am I
You're
unmuted?
People?
Yeah.
I hope I'm unmuted.
Unmuted.
Testing.
We're all unmuted.
1, 2, 3.
Testing.
Okay,
Okay.
unmute yours.
All right.
So
Gonna want to unmute yours.
You're unmuted.
They're asking everybody to. There's a thing that says the host wants you to.
Okay,
you're
you guys are
unmuted,
all
whoever's
unmuted.
saying, they're asking everybody to. You are unmuted. So here, one of the traditions we have at the Federation Convention is we gather
Yep.
in our various state affiliates, and we usually do state cheers. So we thought we'd try a Colorado cheer here. Why not, right? This will be interesting.
Sure.
Now, can I get everybody to be quiet? Everybody quiet. We need
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Scott, I don't know if everybody can hear.
Quiet.
You can't hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean,
Yes, I think everybody's unmuted.
Okay.
too many people talking.
Yeah, too much
So,
talk.
all right, can everybody be quiet?
All right. Please give Scott our attention.
Oh my God,
Right.
shut up.
All right. So, if everybody can be quiet, we're going to try this cheer. And see, this is one of the challenging aspects of the Zoom meeting. So, all right, here we go. Give me a C.
C.
Give me an O.
Oh.
L. Give me an R. Give me an A. Give me a D. Give me an O. What does that spell?
New Mexico.
Well,
That was funny.
that kind of worked. I think now let's mute everybody.
All right.
We're all going down. Folks. Let's see if it happens to me again.
That's a different Curtis.
Mute yourself.
Oh, hold on.
What is going on?
There we go. Okay, Scott, you're on.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so next, I would like to talk about the various ways to access the convention. So I'm going to turn it over to Curtis now, and Dan and Paul will help to talk about Zoom, talk about the streams, to talk about accessing the convention on the landline. So take it away, Curtis.
Okay. So as we all know, or have been told already, Zoom, Z-O-O-M, is the platform of choice for the convention of the National Federation of the Blind. And by now, everybody who's on this meeting knows that there are a variety of different ways to get into a Zoom meeting. The first one is on a computer. And the next running either Windows or Mac OS, so it depends what flavor you like. The second way is to get in using your smartphone, either Android or iOS, and some people are already doing iOS. And the third way, for people who don't have a computer or a smartphone, is through a traditional landline. You can make a regular phone call and join the convention. The most important piece of information that everybody needs for each of the different ways is when you look at the agenda. And by the way, I would point out that I noticed that the Word version has been updated. So if you go and grab it now, you'll notice there was a couple meetings that had moved, and they are moved in the Word version that's available online. Every meeting, every division meeting, every committee meeting, every general session has associated with it what's called a Zoom meeting ID, which is a series of 10 to 12 digits. If you're using a computer, you just click on the link and it takes you into the meeting through a variety of different ways. For example, if you're using the Word document, you have to right-click on the actual link, which is a Shift F10, and then arrow down to where it says Open Link. And if you press Enter on that, that will take you right to the meeting. But if you're dialing in on the phone, there's one phone number that you have to remember, and that phone number will get you into any Zoom event that is happening at the convention. But when you call that number, you should wait for a lady or person to ask you to enter a meeting ID, and this is where you would then manually type in the number for the particular session that you're going to go into. All general sessions, I believe, have the same number. So once you get the meeting number for the one general session, you'll be able to use that same number for all general sessions throughout the convention. But all the sub meetings, the resolutions committee, the divisions, each of them will have their own, and you should look those up online if somebody hasn't already given you that information. So mostly you're going to be a participant in a meeting. So once you're in the meeting, you don't have to do anything except mute or unmute yourself if you want to participate, as opposed to just listen to what's going on. So you should know for the particular way that you're getting in how to mute and unmute yourself, which we have talked about at numerous Mountain Time at 5 Zoom meetings. Alt-A on the computer in Windows, and on the bottom left of the iPhone, unless you're in the general session. The general session will come up the way the rookie roundup did. You can't unmute yourself, I don't think. But on the lower left of the screen of the iPhone, there's a mute and unmute toggle. And as a voiceover user, I found out that if you used the mute or unmute button once, that if you stayed in the Zoom program, you could use the magic two-finger double tap to unmute and unmute yourself once you've used the button the first time. So for those people, I don't know how many people are going to participate via landline. I just know that probably more than I think more than we think are going to do it. So there is a single phone number. It's the same phone number that you use during Rookie Roundup. It will work. It's area code 301-715-8592. And I don't know, Scott, if you want me to cover the voting part, but maybe I'll leave that alone. So the important thing is, for whatever sessions you want to go to, except for the exhibit hall, make a note of the meeting ID number and use whatever tools you have. If you're on the computer or the phone, and you're running the Zoom program, you want to join the meeting, and the number that you enter is the meeting ID that's listed in the agenda.
Curtis Willoughby,
Go ahead, Curtis.
there's a Denver telephone number, and if you have to pay for long distance calls, you don't want to use the 301 number. I can give you the Denver number if you're ready.
I'll write it down. What is it?
Go for it.
720-707-2699.
And I regret to say that we have somebody in Pueblo who doesn't have a Pueblo number to call.
I
into the
understand that.
convention. But Curtis, I've written the number down,
I thank Paul Sandoval for that number.
and we'll store that off somewhere so that we can make that available to people who don't have long distance.
Yeah, the key thing to know about the Zoom system is any of the phone numbers you see for Zoom anywhere will work.
Right.
So you can use that 720 if you want, the 301, the 646,
There's a 213, a 312 for Chicago.
Right.
There's a plethora of numbers that are a lot of times when you get Zoom invitations, you'll see tons of phone numbers. You can use any one of those as long
Yeah, the
as.
only thing is Zoom still hasn't figured out that there is a Denver number.
Well, that's right, but the majority of people who are on the phone these days do not have to pay for long distance. Thank goodness for that. But for those who have to pay for long distance and they don't have a choice, it's nice to have the 720 number, which we don't know what the capacity is. Suppose everybody in Colorado signed up to that number. Would we overload the circuit? I know for a fact that at the rookie roundup, we had 1,500 plus people, and I would imagine several hundred people were on regular phones. I mean, we have no way of knowing, but that's one of the reasons why I mentioned that 301 number, because I figured, hey, if it worked for the rookie roundup and a lot of people got through on the phone, that's one that we can feel reasonably confident. And again, I emphasize nothing is absolutely 100% certain in this new world of Zoom. So just be patient. The important thing for phone users to remember, wait to hear the person ask you for the meeting ID, because if you have silence, it means you have to call back again, because it means the system hasn't connected you up to the Zoom switchboard or whatever the heck it is. So that's a thing that we really should be telling anybody who's dialing in, is wait for the woman to ask you. It's a lady, it's not a guy, it's a pre-recorded artificial person, to enter a meeting ID, and then you're in. Then you punch the number of the meeting and push pound a couple times, and you are now in the meeting.
And this is Dan Curtis. We should emphasize that people should really wait and listen, because a lot of people are going to be calling in those general sessions all at the same time. So be patient with it, I guess, is the
Yeah, we're gonna saturate the telecommunications network with our meeting, but we have one heck of a good, robust, powerful Zoom account which supports up to 10,000 people. So I think we should be okay. I think maybe Paul ought to talk a little bit about those situations where you're not using the phone, Paul, like, let's say you're using the Zoom app or you're using the Zoom client.
Well, you actually did a pretty good job. You did a pretty good job of kind of introducing the basics of it, and it's a good point that during the general sessions, you're not going to have the ability to unmute yourself. You're just going to go in, you're going to listen. If for whatever reason you are called on, they will unmute you remotely and then mute you again when you're done. Yeah. So let's say you have a question, you raise your hand or whatever. Right. That's how that'll work.
Although if you've been in the general session, you know that raising your hand in the general session doesn't usually get you very far.
Yeah, yeah. And I did notice that you are allowed. We do have the right to raise our hand. We could in the rookie roundup for all the good it would do you, but it is something. So I don't know if that's going to end up being used in any way. I doubt it, just because there's going to be so many people.
Well, there will be a way for people to get the floor during appropriate times, either when there might be questions or answers, and then certainly during resolutions. And I'm not sure how the logistics are going to work. You just need to listen to whatever instructions folks have for us about how to get the floor.
So was I correct in my understanding? And I was actually surprised by this, so maybe my understanding is wrong. But when you go to the live and in-person resolutions committee meeting, the audience is pretty much, they applaud, but they don't say much, and the committee handles all the votes.
Right.
In this next version, I thought I heard Mark Riccobono say, or somebody say, that everybody was going to vote then, but I don't know if that's true. I don't want to start a rumor, right? So I think that's fair. We're not going to vote during the committee, but we'll certainly make our voices heard or our hands raised or whatever, or do whatever the mechanism is when the time comes during the general session to vote.
Right.
So yeah.
The voting, when the resolutions come to the convention floor, that's when everybody will be able to vote, who is registered and a member of the National Federation of the Blind.
So one thing I want to say, I don't want to forget this because I discovered this in the last, when people were setting up for the Rookie Roundup. If you have a Zoom account, I advise that you make sure that you're logged into your Zoom account prior to joining the meeting, because if you're not, you'll encounter a screen that looks like they're asking you to register, and it'll ask for an email address and your name, which isn't a big deal, but for some people that might be a deterrent. So what I would say is just, if you can, a couple hours before your meeting that you plan to go into, open your Zoom app, whether it's on your PC or your phone, and make sure that you appear to be logged into your account. You'll know, because if you're not logged in, you'll see a button that says sign in or sign up.
Yeah, and it's also important, even when you're in your account, that you check how your name is being displayed.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I see these, people show up and it just says iPhone. So if you want the floor at any of the meetings and the moderator's looking at you and your hand is raised and it just says iPhone, it gets really tough. So make sure you put your name in that field so that we know who to call upon. Paul, can you talk about, or Dan, one of you talk about, okay, so we've got, the landline, we've got Zoom, but what about the streaming options? How are those going to work?
Well,
go ahead.
Paul, you talk about YouTube. You watched the thing on YouTube the other night, right?
So we did. We watched, my son was actually the one who found it. I believe it was just on the NFB channel. And it was just broadcasting live. What I did notice is that it was about 2 minutes behind the Zoom app, but
okay.
that's how it goes. But that with it being on YouTube, I would assume that these things are going to be recorded and available later as well. But it's
always recorded anyway. So
well, I was looking on the nfb.org/convention page, and I noticed that right next to the Rookie Roundup was a link to Shoutcast.
Yep.
And I did not try it that night because I didn't see it there. But I do remember people saying repeatedly over and over again that we were going to do something with Shoutcast because we did use it for other things and it seemed to work okay. That's a one-way stream, right? You can only listen pretty much. And the rumor is, right, this is not officially confirmed, but people have asked, is it possible to listen to the convention on my Amazon smart speaker or my Google smart speaker? And I don't know that we've said anything official about that, unless you guys know
I do have something on that, because from John Bergeron, actually, Curtis. But we haven't seen any announcement of how to do it yet. That's the problem. So it's going to be streamed through Shoutcast, which is a traditional streaming venue that we would have maybe used something like that in the past, because you could always stream convention if you weren't there. And sometimes you could stream it from your room if you were, say, sick or something. But we're going to also be running this, John says, to TuneIn. I don't know if that means if I can open my TuneIn app and stream it or not. I'm not totally sure. But that TuneIn is what feeds into the Amazon Echo devices as well as Google Home.
Right, but last year I think it was 195 The Globe that was streaming through TuneIn.
Yeah, but they're not.
I don't think it's right. Right. So the key ingredient that once we make it official is to know what do we tell the smart? Because you can't just say to she who must not be named that to play tune in. We have to have a station, some kind of a keyword.
We can dig
so I'm
into
sure
this.
That'll come out. Yeah.
We can dig into this and then just put something on Colorado Talk when we find out the exact phrase.
Exactly.
It hasn't been released yet.
So here, now we're going to take questions about any of these convention streaming tools, Zoom or the landline or the actual stream itself, or questions about Zoom. So please raise your hand. Again, if you're on the computer, hit Alt-Y. If you're on the phone, hit *9. And then
raise hand.
Yeah.
A raised hand in the iPhone app. All right,
6677 has their hand up, I think. Whoa, it says 11 participants have raised their hand, but
Okay, how about 6677 first? And you've got Susan lowered her hand. I just
you
heard
have to
that.
you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
Unmute. Let's do that. Okay, there we go.
6677.
Gotcha.
Hey Scott, this is Art Yoakum. How you doing?
Good.
Scott, I also found out something interesting. I did receive that email, and I was able to download the app where it says attendees hub or something, and I think you can also use that to stream. Is that correct?
Okay, I think you're talking about the Exhibit Hall app, and that I think is correct. But thank you for pointing that out. Who's next, Curtis?
Renee Anderson, right?
Renee Anderson.
Well, no, wait. There you go, Renee Anderson. Go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just have a question, because like I always like to go to General Assembly a little early. How early do you recommend that we click into the meeting?
The stream will go live a half an hour before any general session. And there will actually be some commentary. Anil Lewis and Melissa Riccobono are going to do a version of their NFB podcast. And so there'll be activity on the stream, a half an hour ahead of the listed convention time. You can log into that link anytime you like. What it will say though is you'll be waiting for the host. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
But there will be live activity as of a half an hour before any session.
Okay.
Except for the banquet, I'm
Thanks.
sure. All right, Curtis.
I'm trying to lower Renee's hand here.
There she is. I heard it. She lowered her hand.
There we go. Jessica Beecham, your hand is up. Go.
I believe that we're also going to be able to stream the convention through NFB Newsline.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. I've heard that. That's what John said, but I don't know how that's going to work quite yet. Do you know,
So
Jessica?
basically, it's going to be 5, like Scott was saying, option 5, and then option 5 again to get into the blindness specific meetings. And then there will be something under there to indicate that you can listen to, and it'll just be general session, but you can listen to general session streaming.
So that's if you dial in. Is that right?
Yes.
Not through the app.
I don't know about through the app. I just specifically asked about how we would access it through the phone. So I'm not sure if it will be available through the app or not.
It's a great option for people that use Newsline and to have just a landline. Yeah.
Yep. If you're already comfortable with it, you don't have to enter access codes. You
Right.
can dial right in.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, next. Thanks, Jess.
Colin was on there.
Yes. Colin.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Colin.
My name is Colin Comer. I am a student at CCB right now. So I just heard on the rookie roundup, what was it, the other night?
Mm-hmm.
and I did happen to hear that they have a podcast. Now, where would I find this?
The Voice of the Nation's Blind is on iTunes.
Is it on Spotify? I've got Android, unfortunately.
It may be.
I don't know.
I would assume it is.
But you also can go to nfb.org and find it.
Okay, terrific. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, any podcast, all podcasts are supposed to be available from wherever you get your podcasts, right? Anybody who's doing a podcast. So Voice of the Nation's Blind is all over, I think.
Most
You got to sign them up for
podcasters
different services.
pull everything from Apple iTunes anyway, most of them. So,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so TuneIn definitely does. iTunes, yeah, I mean, it usually has, yeah. So they're most all pulled from Apple anyway.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
All right. Anybody else?
Art, you didn't mean to raise your hand again, did you?
Doesn't matter. Let's go to somebody else. Everybody gets to have a turn.
Right. Hang on.
Then we're going to take one, maybe two more questions, and we need to move on to the other discussions.
Curtis?
Yes. Wait, I got Beyonce here.
Bianca.
Bianca.
Yes, I was just wondering, for those people, because I haven't taken a look at the agenda, and of course it's not relevant to me, but for those that need Spanish translation, is there gonna be a separate Zoom link for that in the agenda?
Yes. And I don't know where that information is. We can find out, but yes, there will be Spanish translation. For all of the general sessions, the banquet, the board meeting, and it might be for some of the breakouts, but certainly the main meetings. All right, one more.
Gail Hamilton.
Gail.
Nope, that's all right.
You can hear me, right? You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, and maybe I just have to call the 219 number to get this answered. I understand how to do a Zoom link when I'm in an email and I just push the Zoom link. I understand I do have a Zoom account on my PC, and so my question is, you said to go there first, and yet then what do I log into on the computer and then you said something about the
Okay, so in the agenda,
link on the agenda. So
if you're looking at the agenda online, okay, if you're looking at the agenda, let's say on the web, right, that's like clicking on a link in an email to get into the Zoom meeting. So where it says Zoom, you just do that. But if you're looking,
open my Zoom account first on my computer if I were to do that.
Correct. It'll just kick the Zoom. It'll start it for you.
Yep.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out the easiest way.
Yeah.
The easiest way probably would be to be on the website, find the meeting you want, find the Zoom link, and just hit enter on it, and it'll take you. It'll ask you to open the meeting, and then away you go.
Okay, perfect.
Or if
Okay, can we take one more? I got
One more.
Dale Holden with his hand up.
Oh no, not him. All right, Dale, go ahead.
Tuesday night, we were using the iPad. And after Melissa gave her talk, then everything from then until we rebooted the iPad, it had a multiple echo of everything that was being said. I just wanted.
Well, I didn't hear that, so it must have been something unique to you. I don't know why it would have been doing that.
The iPad. Well, that's what I wondered, but I thought I'd bring that out so if anybody runs into it, it does happen. All we did was rebooted the iPad and went back.
Worked.
That's
I will say that this is a common failing of Zoom. There have been times where I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting and either things just freeze up. So, this is not uncommon. Sometimes I have to reboot JAWS. Sometimes I have to reboot Zoom. And sometimes if it's really bad, I have to restart the entire computer. And this is something that unfortunately happens with technology. I'm sorry to say, I wish it wasn't true, but it is. So
Also, be aware if you're on Wi-Fi that your router can, potentially drop out now and then, and that can cause some issues too.
That's a really good point too. We hear people on Zoom calls all the time, leaving the meeting and coming back just seconds later, and that's some fluctuation in their own system, maybe their own Wi-Fi, maybe.
So it might be mindful to find a spot that's going to be comfortable, that is going to be well within your network range, so that you're not dropping out, in and out. So something to, because you want to make this as pleasant as possible. And if you're having trouble with network stuff constantly, that's not going to be fun.
Okay, we got too many hands up to
Well,
we
yeah,
could be
we're
here
going to
for all
move
day,
on.
sir.
The
Sorry.
next thing, and again, if you still have questions, feel free, assistance at nfbco.org, 303-778-1130, extension 219. I next want to talk about voting at the convention. If you are registered for the convention and you are a member, you should have received an email telling you where to register to vote. The deadline to register to vote, and this is register to vote in the NFB convention, is the 12th, is July 12th. Okay. I hear somebody in the background there.
I'm going to mute everybody if you're not careful. Hello.
All right.
It's one of the, yeah. You got kids talking.
Yeah. Got
It's
some
a phone
kids in the
number
background,
under Sandy.
which is cool, but hey.
4759.
Bye, Paul. Paul left the meeting. All right. So to vote, you go to nfbvote.org. Okay. And there, it's going to ask you your first name, last name, and the phone number you want to use to vote. And you need to be very deliberate about the number you want to vote from, whether it's a smartphone or a dumb phone, because that's the one that you'll be allowed to use, the only number that you'll be allowed to use, because if you, let's say you register your landline number, but then try to call in your cell number. If you didn't register your cell number, then the system is not going to recognize you and not let you vote. There are two ways to vote. If you're using a smartphone, you text the number, and you either choose 1 for yes, 2 for no, or you can just type in yes or type in no in your text number, in your text message rather, and just send off the text. That's all you need to do. If you want to use the phone voice system to vote, you dial the number, and it will ask you, press 1 to vote yes, or press 2 to vote no. Okay. Now the number I believe is, and you guys can tell me.
I've got it.
It's what? 667. Yep. Go ahead.
667-206-6677.
And
667-206-6677. Sorry.
Call now. Anyway,
operators are standing by.
The president or whoever's presiding over the meeting will tell us when voting's open and when voting will close. So you'll have ample opportunity to vote. The most important thing you need to do is go to nfbvote.org and register yourself. And the system will only accept people who have registered for the convention and who are confirmed members of the Federation. For example, and we got a spreadsheet ahead of time. We had to verify who was a member or not. And the name Curtis Chong came across the page, and I said, nah, he's not a member, so he's not going to be able to vote. I'm kidding. All right. Anyway.
Well, there was questions about some people, and I vouched for them, and so I noticed the status changed. So we've gone through an exhaustive review process. So people should now be in the system as members who are. Yep. So And the voting is easy. I mean, you don't have to text. You can just call it even on your smartphone and just punch 1 or punch 2. It's a yes, no kind of thing. And I've tried it a couple of times. It seems to work fine. So.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm
that's
told that you can only have one person per telephone number.
That is correct.
Right.
So that means my wife's not going to get to vote.
That's one of the unfortunate consequences that in the limitations of the systems we had available.
Well, that's
and
right,
time-
but that's the case only, Curtis, if you have just one telephone. Now, if you had a
Lots of
cell
phones, but
phone-
we only know how to use one of them that we're not going to be using on Zoom.
Right. All right. So, so that's voting. Now let's talk about the exhibit hall. Curtis, do you want to talk about the Compass crowd
Compass, it's called, right? So we have a system in place now where in order to get into the exhibit hall, you, unlike the other meetings and things that are going on at the convention, you must have either a smartphone and a computer or both, because you will use a web browser to get yourself set up to register in the exhibit hall. Now, the process is actually fairly straightforward. I'm looking up the email right now so I can be intelligent about this. You should have gotten an email if you were registered already that talks about how to get into the exhibit hall.
Came out this morning.
And the subject is access to the 2020 convention virtual platform. So the idea is that if you're on a smartphone, whether it's Android or whether it's iOS, you want to install an app that's called Crowd Compass Attendee Hub. Those are 2 words, actually, Crowd Compass Attendee Hub. And it's a free app that you install. And on the computer, you just want to go to a website. Let me find a thing here. Hang on, here we go. event.crowdcompass.com/NFB20. So event.crowdcompass.com/NFB20. And the first thing it's going to ask you is enter a valid password for the conference. So everybody, this is the most unsecret password in the world. That is NFB all lowercase 2020. And then the next page that pops up is going to want you to log in. Now, the login, when you press enter or click on login, is going to want your first name, your last name, and your email address. And unless, if you're doing this through the app, it also then has your cell phone number. And so either you will either get an email or a text or both. I get both now, with a verification code that is 6 digits long. And so when you on the login page, you fill in your first name, last name, email address, you hit next, and then it says enter a validation code. So you got to wait for the email or the text to arrive and get that code, type it in, and then press next, and then you're now into the exhibit hall. And you can find a list of all the exhibitors right now by name. You have to first click on list of exhibitors, and then you have to click on, exhibitors by name. And it's not a very well done page, but it's sorted alphabetically, so you can each company that's there has a link that you can open up that gives more information about the things that they do. And I'm sure that by the time the hall actually opens, which interestingly enough, it is going to be open all day on Tuesday, right, the 14th. So if you don't want to go to seminars, you can go to the exhibit hall and check out who all is there. I have found that on the computer, especially on my computer, I delete everything after I get out of the browser. I have to log in and go through that whole complicated process every single time. But on the phone, I don't have to, because the app is remembering who I am, and it's letting me go in and do the things that I want to do.
Curtis, I'm going to interrupt you here. I know our first vice president, Jessica, needs to go to another meeting at the top of the hour. Jess, if you're still there, do you have anything you'd like to add before you zip off?
I have nothing, but I am very happy to be having our first virtual convention with so many wonderful Colorado friends. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Jess. And I meant to mention, there are about 350 of us who registered from Colorado. So I think that's really cool. Anyway, Curtis, anything else you want to say about Crowd?
Nope. I think
Compass?
that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, the people who are exclusively landline are sort of out of the running for this.
Well, you can now you could
They have
also
to find friends.
Yeah, you can find a friend who can
Yeah.
get online and tell them what's going on, and maybe if they want to buy a brand new cane or whatever. Incidentally, that brings up another point. Our NFB Independence Market will be open during the convention. And yes, you can reach them online through the Crowd Compass thing, but you can also just call them at the National Center and place an order. So that'll be cool, right? All right. So next, Julie Jean, I'd like you to talk about the Colorado Center for the Blind events.
She's getting over here real quick. I just want to say you can find the Colorado Center for the Blind on the Compass, Crowd Compass.
That's right. It's
right
there.
now with links to our videos and so on.
That's cool.
Add some more stuff in. So.
Yes, sir. We are in the exhibit hall. So on Saturday morning at around 9 o'clock.
Which time zone?
Having what we used to call our
Mountain.
in the morning.
Huh.
It used to be called CCB night. At least I've always thought of it as our CCB night. Well, so this will be our CCB morning, and we'll be doing a presentation from 9 to 10:15 on Saturday. We will have a formalized program. We'll have all the staff members introduce themselves, talk about new things that are happening at the center, and then we'll just be hopefully answering all kinds of questions for all the people that attend. So we're looking forward to it, and everyone's welcome to come.
Yay. Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
Now, we will, as I've said, on the 16th at 9 a.m. Mountain, have our Colorado caucus, and we'll be sending out the Zoom information regarding that. One thing that we've always done in our Colorado caucus, and we're going to try and do it this year, is we go around the room and introduce ourselves and say how many conventions we've been to. I think what I'll do is employ the Burke method, which is at Denver chapter meetings, he asks everybody whose last name starts with an A, speak up and introduce yourself. Everybody, and go through the alphabet. I think I'll try that. But we'll see how well that works. We do a number of other things at the Colorado caucus. Now, I'm going to take more questions here in just a minute. But before I do that, I'd like to turn it over to Kevin Worley to see if he has any comments, because he's the guy who helped us start the Mountain at 5 Zoom calls and moderated almost all of them. And Kevin, do you have any comments for this motley crew? If he's there.
He just put his hand down.
Oh.
I think that was somebody else.
There you are.
There's another Kevin.
Oh.
Maybe Kevin's not there.
Can we mention door prizes?
Oh.
No, we did not.
Why don't you talk about it, Dan?
Real quick. So on our rookie roundup call the other night, we learned a little bit about how door prizes are going to work. And the answer is that when your name is called, you email prize@nfb.org. Of course, I'll announce this a lot at the time, but if you don't have access to email, that's good. You need to buddy up with somebody probably. What they're going to do is announce, I think, as many as 5 names at once. Obviously, because we're going to be on the Zoom call, we're not going to wait for people to raise their hands and somebody to find them in the crowd. So you just have to respond with a given time to prize@nfb.org.
And you want to find somebody who can help you do that.
Yep. And
if you don't have email.
You don't have email. Yep.
Brian here with just a quick suggestion. If you want, I can offer up my number for people to contact to be able to call in if they have won a prize, and I can send them the email for them if that's doable.
He might take part of it if it's chocolate. I just got to tell you.
Yeah, well, I will be taking my cut.
I think Diane had something.
Yeah, if I could add just real quickly, I think you've covered it very well. However, see, that's what I was going to say. We're going to take 5 at a time, and we're going to allow everybody plenty of time to respond. Not a half hour, but no, 10 or 15, 10 minutes, I think is what we have settled on. So we're going to have some great prizes. It's going to be just as much fun as a national convention. No kidding. We'll still have spotters. We have spotters who will let us know who the folks are. So I think it will be it'll be different and it'll be great. You'll love it.
And the grand prize is always fun. There'll be a huge cash grand prize at the banquet, end of the banquet. So yeah, thank you, Diane. Now, Lisa just texted me and pointed out that I said our caucus is on the 16th. If I said that, I was wrong. It's on the 17th. 17th, next Friday, July 17th at 9 a.m. Mountain. All right. So we are at the point where we can take a few more questions, and then we'll wrap this baby up. So raise
Curtis
your
Willoughby.
hand. Curtis. Yes, sir.
I'm realizing we need a new feature, and I think I can provide it. I'm thinking we don't have a lot going on Monday. Is that correct?
Nothing going on Monday.
There's nothing going on at the convention Monday.
Nothing.
All right, so I'm proposing that I set up a meeting. I'll give it 2 hours. We might not need 2 hours on my Zoom account. And some people whose volume is not working out right, like Diane, and I think Julie, and I believe Paul Sandoval, need help personally with their location of their microphones or the volume of their voice or something, and I'll try to give them personal assistance with that. If they're not on it at the same time as somebody else, if they're on with somebody else, well, then the other person will get to listen. So how does that sound?
That sounds fine, Curtis. And if you'd like to help people out that way, that'd be great. Please get that information so we can put it on the listserv.
Well, the only thing you need to know is the telephone number is the Zoom ID is 303-424-7373, and call in on any Zoom number, including the one in Denver. And I'll try to allow 2 hours from 9 to 11 a.m. Mountain Time to provide you personal assistance with your volume. And I've noticed 3 or 4 people who need it, and I named names, Julie and Diane, and I believe Paul Sandoval, and I'm not sure anybody else. Maybe Kevin, I'm not sure.
I know why Julie's was low is because she's in the same room as Kevin doesn't have any.
Normally she's been fine on Zoom, but anyway, other questions.
Let's see, 303
424-7373.
7538. Last 4 digits has her hand
7538. You're on the air, maybe.
Oh,
Gail had her hand up. Apparently she's.
Yes, I
saw. John, be aware that you cannot, if you're calling from the telephone, you cannot lower your hand.
I'm aware of that.
Curtis, your wife left us.
Yeah, she did.
Hopefully she didn't leave you.
Okay, I unmuted this. Whoa, come on, come on.
We got folks leaving, which is fine.
Dale Holden has his hand up.
Oh, Dale.
Again?
Go for it.
Go ahead, tell him now.
You've already had me. I was just wanting to let you know about the echo.
I did unmute him.
Okay.
I did mute him.
My hand was up. I heard Pippi.
Can I go ahead and ask the question?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, I had a couple of questions. The first one is, do you know, or do you have to be registered for convention to register for the Crowd Compass app?
No.
Or can we can
Wait
share
a
that
minute.
email with others?
I don't think it said. Did it say, Scott?
Yes, it does. It says you have to be registered.
You do, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we can't share that with those who have not registered for convention. Okay. And then my other question was, do you know if you can log into your same Zoom account from different
Absolutely.
devices at the
Oh
same
yeah.
time? So I can attend
Oh
different
sure.
meetings on. Okay,
It
perfect.
doesn't seem
Thank
to.
you.
It might kick you off the one you're not sitting at, but you
So
can.
Pippi, so
Hmm.
Pippi, if you you can actually access Zoom meetings without having an account. I advise that when you're going to access the webinars that you're signed in before those. But if you do happen to need to sign in from multiple devices to a regular meeting, it shouldn't be a problem.
Things like committee meetings, division meetings,
Those
I
are
think those
regular.
will not be
Yeah,
webinars. Those will be regular meetings.
I
It's only
agree.
the
Those
general
will be
session that'll
regular
be
Zoom
treated
meetings. Yeah.
like a,
Yeah.
general session is the one where it would be helpful to have a real Zoom account, which is free, by the way.
Pippi,
Okay.
Pippi,
My
you need
question
to
is
come
at
and
the
see
same.
Curtis's 9
No,
to
I
11
don't.
a.m.
Thank you. So my question is at the same time. So for instance, there is the sports and rec division meeting and the blind merchants going on at the same time. So can I log into both meetings from different devices off of
Sure.
my same account?
Certainly.
That's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you can. If
I
you
want
can
to see
keep
that.
track of both of them, go for
Smoke them if you got them, as they say. If
Yeah,
you got
all
more
right.
than one device and you want to tune into more than one event, go for it. Hey, I came up, here's a creative idea for folks. If you haven't registered for the convention and you want to do the exhibit hall, pal up with somebody who has a Zoom account and get into their Zoom room, and they could screen share and get in to the exhibit hall. And of course, you got to pal up with somebody who's registered and can get into the exhibit hall. But that's one way you can possibly do it. There may be others. You can just be in person with somebody or over the phone with somebody who has access. Other questions?
This is Mary.
Mary,
Yes,
your
Mary.
hands up. Go.
Will
Yeah.
you please give the assistant's phone number again slowly?
Absolutely. You ready?
I am.
Okay, 303-778-1130, extension 219. So again, 303. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. And then I'll give the assistant's email again, which is easy enough, right? assistants@nfbco.org. Okay. Other questions?
Hamilton.
This is Eileen.
Eileen.
Hello, Scott. I wanted to ask from the Rookie Roundup, is it true that we'll be able to access the Zoom links through the Compass, the Crowd Compass? Is that the app
Definitely.
they were talking about? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it within each of the events. In the corner, there's a link to join the meeting right in the event itself. So it's really cool. This is in the agenda view, and you can show and hide particular events and build your own personalized agenda. I encourage you to get it set up and play with it. It's really something else.
Irene,
Awesome. I will do that.
you need to come and see Curtis, Irene. Monday morning, 9 to 11.
Curtis, are you having trouble hearing me, my friend?
I think Curtis ought to put something out on Colorado Talk so that those people who aren't here.
I'll give somebody the information. You can put it out on Colorado Talk.
No.
Well, we can do that, Curtis.
Yep. Send it to me, Curtis.
We'll put it out.
Who said that?
Dan
Burke.
Dan Burke said that. Daniel J. Burke, as a matter of fact.
I'll call you on your center phone.
Okay.
All righty. Other questions?
This is Susan.
Susan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Bacunia. I'm in the senior program at CCB. This is my first convention, and I have one question. How do I access a list of all the meetings that'll be going on all week?
Okay, Susan, do you have access to the World Wide Web, or can you
No.
read? Okay, so oh wow. So
Susan, are you on Newsline?
No, I'm on my iPhone, and I have access to emails. And I did receive some emails, but nothing with the list of what's going on. Like, I'm really interested in the diabetes meeting, but I don't know the code. So is there a way for me to get an email sent to me for me to get the 500 meetings, whatever there is?
Susan, I would recommend you chat with someone from the senior program. They're helping folks out a lot, and I'm sure Anahit and Chris are going to kill me because they got a lot to do. But we'll make sure you get this information.
Right. Here's the
Okay.
thing, and
Thank you.
even on your iPhone, you know, you could open up the nfb.org page, go to the convention link, and get into the agendas from that. Maybe Anahit can help you with that. I'll volunteer my wife.
Maybe you could get into that, but I don't believe
Well,
I can. I'm not very tech savvy.
Okay, well, we'll figure out how to help you, Susan, and get you the information you need. Certainly, meetings that you know of that you want to go, we can get that to you. I mean, technically, you could you could copy the entire agenda and paste it into a body of an email, but that'd be one really long email. So
Okay,
anyway,
Duncan did mention some things I'm interested in, so she'd be able to give me the codes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm real excited. My first
Great.
convention.
Well,
Glad
welcome.
that you're
Thank
doing,
you.
and we'll be looking forward to being there virtually with you. All right, anybody else?
Gail here.
Hi, this is Tracy.
Okay, we got Tracy and Gail. I heard Gail first, and then we'll go to you, Tracy. Gail.
So if I have a issue during the convention, is there, because that could happen to me, is there any one way of getting assistance, like to call it, you know, to get some help?
Well, you know, I would tell you what, we'll continue monitoring the assistance at nfbco.org and the number that I gave. We'll monitor that throughout the convention. In terms of technical assistance, let's, you know, if you have computer issues or Zoom issues or whatever, we will think about the best way to do that, Gail, in terms of maybe a phone tree that we'll set up. We'll think about that. I know you're on the Colorado listserv, the Colorado Talk listserv, so look for an announcement there.
Okay, just was curious.
Yeah, sure.
It's a great question.
So,
Tracy.
Tracy, is that Tracy Jones?
That's me.
Hey, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I have two quick questions. One, can you repeat how to get the Crowd Compass app? And the second question is, I know in Virginia, we always used to get together with everybody to socialize for the banquet. And I know we can't do that virtually, but can we do that virtually? Is there a way that we can like meet people to have like a Zoom
cocktail hour
or something, so I can get to meet some people in Colorado? I don't know very many people out here in Colorado, and I'd like to meet.
Here's the thing. When you look at the agenda, the afternoon session ends, what, an hour? Or maybe it's even just a half an hour.
Half an hour before the banquet.
So that's a little tight. But what we can think about doing, Tracy, is seeing if we maybe can fire up the Colorado Zoom room after the banquet, because the banquet will end by about 7:30 our time. And so maybe we can do something like that. Are you on our Colorado listserv?
Yes.
Okay, good. Stay tuned for further announcements.
So, Tracy, do you want me to send you an email with this? Because you didn't get one from, because this email has all the details you need. All I need is your, I mean, you ready to write this address down? I'll give it to you right now.
Okay.
Event.crowdcompass, and with 2 S's, .com/NFB20. So event.crowdcompass.com /NFB20.
And then, Curtis, in the App Store, is it just Crowd Compass?
It's Crowd Compass space attendee hub, which is two words together.
And it shows up on your home screen as just Attendee Hub.
Right. When you install it, it shows up as Attendee Hub. One word.
Yeah, and by the way, I was able to get through the whole setup, creating the profile and all of that just on the iPhone.
Yep.
Can you get that on Fire, on Amazon Fire?
If your Amazon Fire can go to the web, you can get it. And if you search, there's a what store does Amazon run where you can get apps? You know, because technically the Amazon tablet is an Android system, right? I personally think that you'd be safer if you did it on if you had a computer with access to the web.
Well, I have an iPhone too. I was
Okay.
just wondering if.
Yeah,
I
iPhone's
would
easier.
do it on the iPhone.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. All right, one last question. Anybody?
There's somebody who does this hand go down? Pippi is done.
It's
Tracy's
Kat.
done.
Sorry about that.
Kat, go ahead.
Tried to unmute.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when I register for the Crowd Compass thing, would it matter? Because there are some things like when I registered for the convention, I registered under Catherine Hanks. But would it matter if I just said Kat Hanks on there, or would it not? Because it's not exactly it's not legal, I don't think. Or do I have to?
All I can do, all I can tell you is if it lets you in, you can use it. And nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So try it, see if it lets you in. The key thing is your email address. I think that's what it really wants.
Yeah, and it has to be the one that you registered.
It has to be the one you registered with. But the name, I suspect, if you use a variation of your name, it should be okay.
That lady who just was on, or who was just on, I don't know her name, needs to come and talk to Curtis.
Okay.
The audio
I
doctor.
don't have any problem with my volume, guys. And the problem is that I can't do anything about it because I will be going to work at 9 as of 9 Monday morning. So there's
all you need to do is
fine to me. You're
all you need
fine to me.
I can
all you need to
understand
do is
Kat
get a
just
little
fine.
farther away from your phone.
No, she's coming through good on this end.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So anybody else?
Question.
Who's that?
This is Willie.
Candace, go.
Willie's first.
Hello,
Willie started.
What?
Hold
Would
on,
Willie go first?
Yeah.
Okay, Willie.
Willie, then we'll get you, Candace.
Okay.
So I will be at work throughout the whole convention, but I want to listen to it in the background. Can I want to stream, listen to it by stream. What address do I go to listen by stream? Because I can't. Once I put down my phone, I can't pick it up because I'm at work. So I want to listen to it. I want to listen to it, but I can't really participate. How do I go by listening to it by YouTube?
Well, it depends on what device you're going to be listening through, right?
My iPhone.
Oh, your iPhone. Well, yeah, you could log into the Zoom link,
right?
And
okay.
just listen to it.
Yep, that would work.
Okay, so it's nothing special. Okay,
Nothing special.
All right.
Nope.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Or you can call in on the telephone number.
That's true.
Yep.
Which is also a Zoom link.
A Zoom
if you
link,
will.
right? Exactly.
Candace.
Hello, I came in late. I'm from Colorado Springs, and I wanted to inquire about what was mentioned on the rookie roundup about being able to connect with other members.
Oh.
I think the rookie roundup assumes that this is about the banquet actually, and it means
Oh,
that.
okay. I thought that was actually through the entire convention.
No,
somebody.
Curtis, I think what she means is if you're in this Crowd Compass.
Oh, the Crowd Compass.
You create a profile. If you create a profile, then you can see who else is out there. And it offers you ways to connect with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what I think they were referring to in the rookie roundup.
Yep. And so a lot of people are just now signing up today and tomorrow because we just got the information on how to do it today. So I imagine it'll start filling up with people you can search for in the Crowd Compass when you log in.
Okay, cool.
Who's this now?
Marty.
Marty.
I was going to say, I did the Crowd Compass sign up this morning. Your profile does have to be marked as visible if you want others to find you.
Ah.
Yes.
So if you want to be searchable, you got to be visible.
Yes, you have to be visible.
Right.
And you can do that on the iPhone a whole lot easier than the computer, actually.
Absolutely. I did it over the iPhone, and it didn't take hardly any time at all. But you do have to mark your profile, and the app will actually tell you that. You know, if you do the Crowd Compass app over the iPhone, which was really easy to find and download in the App Store.
Cool. All right. Anybody else before we?
What different categories can you search for people by?
Don't
Their
know.
name, I expect, or
Yeah.
I don't
Definitely
know.
name, I think, and any other information. Like I just did a basic profile. I didn't do my street. It asked for street address and all that stuff. You have a choice of whether you do that, but it also asks for job title or company. So you can also search that way. I'm guessing if you actually add that information into your profile, if other people do.
Yeah, the majority of people will have definitely their name and their email. That's about
right.
What you're going
Do
to
they
get.
have miscellaneous or
No.
some, for example, if I want to search them for them by their ham radio call sign.
I
Nope.
doubt they
I
have
don't
that.
think they would have
That was not on there at all.
They might be miscellaneous.
Well, there wasn't a
All right.
miscellaneous field, so just to let you know.
There was or was not?
Was not.
Oh. Oh, well.
Sorry.
Next. Anybody else?
I just have a quick one.
Yanka, go.
Do you have to have a Crowd Compass to experience the full? I mean, I guess if you want to connect, but I mean, do you absolutely have to have a Crowd Compass thing? Because I don't think I'm gonna bother with it just because it's way too much for me.
Well, Bianca, the Crowd Compass, the main purpose of it is to get you into the exhibit hall. So if you don't care about that, then you don't need to worry about Crowd Compass. You can access all of the meetings
On
using Zoom.
Zoom.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right then,
Crowd
because I
Compass
don't.
is only for exhibit hall. If you don't care about it or are willing to not have it this time, you can forego that whole thing.
Yeah,
All right.
I usually never go anyway.
There you go. So don't worry about it.
Then you're good.
Bianca,
All right.
if you're planning to talk anywhere on this, we should talk again Monday. This is Curtis.
All right.
All right. Anybody else?
Scott?
Yes, I barely hear somebody.
This is Phyllis.
Phyllis.
Yes, hi.
There you are.
I just want to tell you guys what a wonderful job you are all doing, you tech-savvy computer angels.
Well, I'm not that. Believe
Usually,
me. I'm more
we're
of a
referred
computer...
to as devils, actually.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say I'm more of a computer Beelzebub, but anyway.
People who hate computers do not like computer people.
Thanks for joining us, Phyllis.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And listen, I think we'll bring
Excuse
this
me.
to a
The word you're
close.
looking for was demon.
Yes, there you go.
Demon.
As in
Jim
DAEMON.
Lopez.
That's a joke. Lopez? Hey.
Yeah.
Jim Lopez.
Jim Lopez.
How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Listen, I want to tell you guys too. You guys are doing a good job, and just keep it up. I'll be at the convention as much as I can, but I can't promise I'll be there through all of it. But I'm going to be as much as I can.
Well, and the other thing I want to point out to people is certainly the main sessions, all of them, are going to be recorded. And so if you miss something, you'll be able to get at it. So, and a lot of the breakouts will be recorded as well. For example, I'll be recording the National Association of Blind Lawyers meeting. I know you all want to be there.
And the computer science meeting's being recorded. And every year on our website, if you guys don't already know this, all the speeches that are given at the general session, every single one of them is set up in the convention highlights page. So if you missed anything on this, it's traditional that all the audio of all the speeches, the presidential report, all the different, you'll get to hear Scott Labar moderate the panel on the ADA and stuff like that. You can get those after about a month after the convention. So
it might be faster this year, Curtis.
It might. Yeah,
all
we
right.
never know.
Tell you what, folks, we're going to wrap this up. And I want to thank all of you for being here this evening. We will have a tremendous national convention. Again, if you need help, assistance at nfbco.org or 303-778-1130, extension 219. Again, 303-778-1130, extension 219. Thank you very much. Have a
Good night, everybody.
Zooming
Thank you,
evening.
everyone.
Good night.
There's Zoom.
Good night,
Happy
everybody.
zooming.
Good night, everybody.
Happy zooming.
Bye, everybody.
Zoom.
7 threes.
Slow down.
Goodbye, folks.
Bye.
7 threes.
Woo.
Hillary Clinton's iPhone? No.
Yeah, Willie's
Somebody
last
has
name is
Hillary
Clinton.
Clinton's iPhone.
Willie Clinton.